I don't know how lucky an actor can be to be in his first movie with all these great, God, they're my heroes. They still are.
We call The Wild Bunch the Bible because we watch it over and over again. It is so rich in texture and levels of meaning and character, and it just doesn't get much better than The Wild Bunch. Your part, I can visualize it now where you and Strother Martin are running around claiming which dead body's boots you got to keep. I mean, what a realistic, shocking moment that was in the movie. Not just the shootout, but then to see you scavengers arguing over booty like that. Was that in the script?
Part of it was in the script, but all of you know Strother Martin. And when you're working with Strother, you're fighting for your life. So we just sort of winged it as we went along. But it was one of those things that we had started to work like, well, I guess a week before the rest of the company showed up. We're doing the shootout in the town with Bud and the rest of them. And we had a little trouble getting the shot, and finally we got it. And we came bursting out, and we went through the fight, and Sam never cut into it. He just let it go. Now, in the meantime, Bill Holden, a fair beginner in our business, had showed up, and Sam had put him in a chair right next to the camera. And we did the stuff, and as soon as Sam said cut, Holden jumped up, and he started moving away. And Sam says, where are you going, Bill? Bill turned back, and he pointed to Strother to me, and he says, is this the way you're going to shoot the rest of the picture? And Sam said, yes. He said, I'm going home and study. And
Your part, you were with Robert Ryan's, bounty hunters, basically, scavengers going after the bunch, and the cross-cutting between the two, but you guys were like really dirty and scuzzy looking and had dialogue to match your characters.
Well, it was typecasting. Right? But before you put Sam too high up, let me get you to where you understand. Gordy, are you here? Where are you? Oh, you're right here. No wonder I can't see you. Do I still owe you money,
This
for
is
Christ's
Gordon
sake?
Dawson, everybody.
No? Good to see you, babe. Okay, we've done a pickup early. Sam decided to do a master on a shot that was going to be at night. We're in the daytime. We can't get the work that we're doing anyway, but he decides to do it, and so we do the shot. Now, about 2 months later, we're doing the close-up, Strother, Bob, Paul, and myself. And we do it, and we did it first with Bob, and we picked up Paul, picked up Strother, and they got to me. We did that. When we got through, Sam said nothing, and we knew we were in deep caca. And we just sort of waited around, and Sam turned to Lucian. He said, what do you think, Lucian? Is it okay? Yeah, it's okay, Sam. Everybody hit the keys are fine. Okay, and he talked to, you weren't there, I don't think, this particular day, but he talked to somebody in the department. He said, how is it? Well, it's fine, Sam. And he went all the way around everybody, and finally we all kept waiting, and he finally got to the props. And he said, Tony, do you see what? Yeah. But he said, how did you like it? He said, what were you talking about? How do I like it? It's fine, Sam, everything. Sam said, how many beans has LQ got on his plate? Now, this is 2 months after the master shot. And Tony said, how the hell do I know how many beans he's got on his plate? Sam said he's got 13. He had 7 when we shot the long shot. You're fired. Now, unlike most shows where if you want to, you can go in and look at the rushes, Sam never allowed any actor to look at the rushes. He just kept everybody away from it. It was a good thought, because if you were doing something wrong, you would change it, you thought. But now you've started off something on day 1, you're at day 60, and you're a different character, although you're in the same clothes. So he didn't want that, but it began to leak out to us from the editor, which you won't go into at the moment, who was taking a look. He was cutting the picture as we went. They were out at the country club. The country club was 9 holes of golf of mud. That was the high class end of it. And we had the fight every every Saturday night at 11 o'clock. So all the stuntmen showed up in the fight, and we all went to jail. I mean, quite literally. I must have been in jail 13 or 14 times on the show. Everybody else did too. That's the way Sam ran it. But you began to feel that people would do anything in the world other than miss a day of shooting, because something was happening and you didn't quite know what. But it was happening, and that's for me. In talking to the rest of the crew and the cast, that's pretty much the feeling. Something was afoot. We didn't know what it was, but it was fun to be a part of it.
I know that it being your first film, the relationship that you developed with Ernie and Bill Holden was really special, and Ben too, Ben Johnson.
And I, for my first movie, you must understand that I became friends with Bill Holden. He got me in my second picture, Bridget Remargin. I did 4 pictures with Ben. Dear friend. I did with Struther, and he come to my daughter's birthday party. What a sweet man he was. Dub Taylor stayed up all night with me, helping me memorize Yes, We Shall Gather at the River, because I had a hell of a time with songs. Well, dialogue too.
Nothing's changed.
No, but anyway, Dub, God, what an honor it was to know him. All these guys. Ernest Borgnine was like a father to me, too. And I don't know how lucky an actor can be to be in his first movie with all these great, God, they're my heroes. They still are. Now I'm as old as they are. But
he's older.
I got to go to the reading the next morning. Peckinpah liked to read. We all sitting around a table, and this is a true story. Now, Warren Oates hadn't shown up yet, and I start daydreaming. Maybe he won't show up, and I'll get to play that part. My first movie, what did I know? And we were reading around a table, and of course I'm into it, and Sam said, wait a minute. He said, Eddie, he says, is that the way you're going to do it? He said, no, Sam, I didn't know you were. So let me see something. Legends? Yeah, I'll show you legends. And he said, okay, that's enough. But anyway, he was scared that Eddie wasn't going to do it.
Hey, Pike, you know what I hear? I hear they got one of those things up north that can fly. That was a balloon, you damned old fool.
In the film, you were squibbed up like nobody had ever been done before. People don't realize that, but when the squibs go off, that sometimes is a little painful.
Well, my first day there, I was a nervous wreck. I'd never heard of Peckinpah. You got to remember, it's 68. And thank God I hadn't, because I squibbed up 26 times. I'd never heard of a squib. They had me in a truck with wires going up my legs, up my butt, up my other legs.
It's
all
time
on
to
my
take
chest.
them off, though.
And because I'd gone to actor studio just to observe, I wanted to feel it. Bad move. No T-shirt. So when we started shooting, I got shot in the leg and in the shoulder and in the leg, and then I go down. Now they covered the camera, because I've got to shoot camera camera left, right, and center. And so, hell, I can't see nobody there because I'm gonna fire that way. People got on these white things and 26 squibs, and I think, Jesus Christ, I'm gonna go to the moon. And Sam was in a little corner here off camera, and I was supposed to shoot camera left, camera right, and camera center. So he hollered action. I shot camera left, camera right, and just as soon as I was pulling the trigger, a piece of squib came out of the wood and caught me above the eyelid. And I heard Sam say, "He's hit." And I said, "Oh God, my first movie, and I'm going to be Sammy Davis Jr." who became one of my dearest friends, by the way, Sammy. I told him that story. And Sam was right there, and, it bled a little, but, when you get cut above here, it damn sure bleeds. And so he said, "Okay, that's a wrap. This will be the first thing we hit in the morning." Well, I said, "No, sir, I just soon finish it now." He said, "You all right?" And I said, "Yes, sir." "So what do you want to drink?" "Anything." Pop that tequila down. Now, we did it again, and they put in half loads, and it didn't work because I wasn't reacting to half loads. And so anyway, we did it. And right after it was over, Mexican crew gave me a hand. Roy Sickner come up and hugged me, said, "You've made me look like $1 million." And if I was getting paid $50 million for that movie, I couldn't have felt better. I mean, the crew was so great. The Peckinpah was smiling. And Phil Feldman and Sam, all of them invited me out to dinner. So they pulled a cab up. I told this to Lee Marvin, another dear friend, this story. They backed the cab up, and I was getting ready to go out, but that thing, they kept clapping. As soon as I got in the cab to drive me back to change clothes to go back and meet them for dinner, I started crying, and I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop. I mean, all the way from there to where Dub Taylor was waiting on me, I couldn't stop crying. I think what Lee said was, I'd had these wires going up me. My first movie, I pleased somebody. I did something I never thought I could do, act. That's a damn true story.
And how did Sam treat his stuntmen?
I'm going to give you a little different perspective on Sam than the actors did, because they dealt with him in a different way. From watching what I saw on the Wild Bunch was anybody that got too close to Sam, I'm speaking of stunt people mainly, if you became a personal friend or if you tried to associate with him, you didn't last very long. I mean, eventually you got fired or something. So I'd say, "Good morning, Mr. Peckinpah," and "Good night, Mr. Peckinpah," and I went home, and I didn't have nothing to do with Sam except on the set. I think I went to one birthday party, which was for him on Pat Garrett, the Billy Kid. That's the only time socially I was around him, and I think that's why I lasted as long as I did. He fired me about the third or fourth day I worked for him. There was another actor there by the name of Paul Harper, who's yet passed away, and I for some reason, was doubling him at this particular time, and he had a full beard, a mustache, long hair, crows, and I can't remember the sequence, but all those guys were in it, and for 2 days they kept putting this beard on me, and the what they were using at that time was spirit gum. And this guy come up with this 2-inch brush with a quart jar full of spirit gum, and he'd paint your face and slap this beard on. And I wore this beard for about 2 days. It never worked. So the third day, they come to put it on me, and I said, no way. I got all the wardrobe, I got the wig, I got everything. You ain't gonna put that beard on me. So here come the head guy, the head makeup guy, the head first assistant. Everybody came over and said, you're gonna get fired. I said, well, maybe so, but I ain't gonna put it on. I got everything else on. I can put it on in 5 minutes. If you can't give me 5 minutes, well, you know. Well, this is the part that everybody else didn't talk about. Everybody in production was so scared of Sam. They were scared of him as a grizzly bear. You know, I mean, they didn't want to futz with him. So anybody that was on the picture, in my recollection, if you were there, you came to the set. If you came to the set, you got dressed, you got ready, because they didn't know where he was going to go or what he was going to do, for sure. So they wanted everybody ready all the time. And I actually went 2 more days without the beard. It never worked. They were still in that sequence. Then about halfway through the 3rd day, they called for us. You know, Sam wanted, they were going to do a ride into the scene or something they wanted. So I went right up, and the guy started putting the beard on. I was right behind a big old rock, and Sam was on the other side of the rock. And the beard was on. And I heard him, he said, where's so-and-so? Where's the double for Paul Harper? And I heard the assistant Coleman say, well, he's not ready. Why is he not ready? He wouldn't put the beard on. Well, fire him, then. He said, and I never did this before in my life, and I never did it after, but something about it really ticked me off. And I went around this rock, and I stood right in front of him, and I tore the beard off, and I said, you bet your ass you could fire me, but get me a car right now. And I wouldn't get out of his face for a few seconds. Finally, I think Coleman or somebody pulled me away, and I thought, well, I'm going home, you know, for sure. He didn't send me home. He kept me the rest of the picture, and after the picture was over, he came up and he said, you'll work on every picture I ever do from here on. And I thought, oh, yeah, sure. But that was one promise he kept. He called me every time. Sometimes I wasn't available, but I did work on 6 pictures with him after that. I think he liked me. I don't know. Him and I were talking one day or something. I don't know. That didn't happen very often, but something come up about the Wild Bunch. He said, oh, wasn't that great? He said, you remember when you were on the train, you got shot? I went down there to be a soldier on the train. Got a shot off the front of the thing, and then I wound up doubling all these guys and whatnot. But Sam was going on, and finally he looked at me and he said, did you ever see the Wild Bunch? I said, no. I said, Sam, I haven't seen any of your pictures. And he said, I'll fix that. So he called Warner Brothers or wherever and had them send it down. And he rented a theater there I think we were in some Mexican town down there, Durango or somewhere. And he said, you got to come. You got to see this. So I went, and it was a bad print. And he went off in the theater. And I don't think I enjoyed the picture that time, you know, because if you know Sam, those who do know him, he could be rather vulgar at the time. So anyway, later on I saw the picture many times, and being a stunt guy and whatnot, I thought it was great. I thought all the bullet fix and all the blood gore was just great. That's how you make your money, you know? I mean, the wilder the better.
How did you go about defining the costumes? Does a costumer normally just get the script first, or do you meet with the director?
Well, in that instance, I'd already done Major Dundee, so I already knew what it like to be in the toilet in the costume department, because they fired about 6 or 7 costumers on that by the time I got there. And I had done all the aging for that back in the studio, and then it was sent down there. So he brought me down there. He said, get me the guy who did this aging, because they were using streaks and tips and hairspray and stuff like that. So that's how I met him, and I managed to get through that. I was terrified of him all the way, scared to death. I didn't realize until much later in my career with him that he was so off balance that the only way he could have any equilibrium was keep everyone up more off balance than he was. So that was his game. And later, when I got producing with him and stuff, he would say, okay, that guy's on the bus, and I'd say, come on, Sam, we got the 1, 2, 3 game, that's 1. He says, okay, and the next day he says, okay, that's 2. And if he was really pissed off, he'd say, 1, 2, 3, he's on the bus, you know. So it was a rodeo with him all the time. On the Wild Bunch, fortunately, having experienced Major Dundee, I think my department was the only one that wasn't in the toilet, the only one that wasn't fired. The prop man, I know when we were on the stage going through customs to bring everything down, I had 180 hampers or something. He had all of his ammo laid out, and I looked at his ammo and I said, that ammo isn't going to last. And he says, kid, we got more line in the lunch line than you got in the business. Don't tell me what's going to last.
Major Dundee, a legend that sweeps across the screen in the blazing battle fire of man-to-man conflict.
And he ran out of ammo the third day of shooting, and he was fired. So, I mean, working for Peckinpah was quite a ride, and the Wild Bunch was quite a ride. I'd like to say that hopefully everyone only has one Bataan death march in their life, and that was mine. There's one story I want to tell that kind of involves LQ and Strother. In the beginning of the Wild Bunch, as a wardrobe man, you got to parade all the people by Sam, and he does yes, no, that sucks, you're ruining my picture, all that stuff. So I had Strother and LQ in front of Sam, and he was giving the old up and down, and you're sitting there quaking in your boots. And he says, you know, something wrong about Strother. He's all right, he looks right, but give me a 1913 Hell's Angel. That's what I want. So I said, what the hell is that, man? So I go, come on, let's go back to the trailer. And I take him back to the trailer, and I go in, and he's looking just almost like he looks in the picture. And I had a bunch of nuns' habits in this trailer, and I grabbed one of the crucifixes, and I took it off, and I hit it with first of all, the first thing I did, big mistake in a way, is I took a pair of needle nose pliers, pinged off the Jesus, threw it out of the trailer, wrapped a bullet around it, blowtorched the whole thing, turned around, and an entire Mexican village was looking at me like that.
Sam loved it.
Yeah.
All right. Wow. Wow. That's a treasure. Oh yeah, put it on.
Oh yeah, put it on.
Yeah.
I ain't no
A
Strother
1913 Hell's Angels. And
Hi, I'm Rob Word. I hope you enjoyed A Word on Westerns. It's an interview series we do. We post a new one every single week. If you missed any, just sign up for this little baby right here.